create a new layer on top. You can call this title this your draw layer. And making this new layer, it's going to allow it so you can draw on this layer, and it won't affect the different layers that are on here. So that's one thing you want to do. So now I can actually begin to do my drawing on top of the my images. So basically, I want you to kind of like experiment with like different patterns, textures, lines, those things to add a little bit more detail to your work. But it kind of relates back to like what we talked about in the on that PowerPoint slide. I'm just gonna go back to just one of the slides that we talked about. Common details in abstract art. You incorporate more patterns, textures, value, color. We're not gonna really worry about today, or line. And these are basically like the details that are gonna be added to your abstract art. It's almost like the same idea as how we talked about baking a cake. We're just thinking about like the design of the cake. It's a circle, square, or we're adding overlapping of the shapes. And then the elements of art is like the kind of like the decorations you're adding to the cake, so like the little details to it. So now we're just like focusing on the the details of your cake, of your art. And so you just kind of play around with this. So I'm gonna zoom in. It's gonna be Command plus a zoom in. So same thing like Illustrator. And I'm just gonna use this hand tool here to move around. I think the hand tool is like still the H key if you click on it. Yeah, still the H key. And you're just gonna work on some designs. So the only hotkeys you need to know for Illustrator is you might want to just change your brush. And I like using this fourth brush on this side here. It allows you to change the line weight as you're drawing. If you use this one here, it's all like the same, so you don't get that nice line weight with when you're using the tablet. So use this like fourth brush to the from the left side. Change your opacity to 100. Some of you may have it on 30. It's gonna look kind of like faded out. So change this to 100. And just be careful with clicking some of these buttons here, because some of it's gonna do some different effects. I think it's this one that does like a kind of like a faded effect. So you might want to turn all these things off, and just make sure your flow is on 100. Yeah, you see it's kind of doing that like brushy effect. So everything's at 100, and make sure just make sure this is normal. So now I'm just going to be just drawing my adding some details to it. So one thing I like using too is the eyedrop tool. If you hold the Option key, it'll change it to this. And this will allow you to, if you look at your swatches, select those colors right away. So, you don't have to like try to like guess these colors again. If you have like a nice range of different values, you can just capture it through the this eyedropper tool. I'm holding the Option or Alt key to change these colors. So, I might want to use this white here. Maybe I don't know, add some circles. So, I'm just trying to see how this looks when I add a little bit more detail. I might add like a big one here, maybe a small one there, and this here. So, you can actually like add these things really quickly on here, as opposed to in Illustrator where it's like, you don't, it's gonna take a while to like resize these shapes and kind of like play around with it. So, sometimes your keys may be a little bit sticky when you use it. So just be mindful of that. You may have to like click around. I'm just like messing around with it just to see how things look. But I want you to just add some details to it. And if you're really stumped on like ideas, maybe you can go to Abstract Illustrator Art and take a look at some of these ideas on here. Like some things that I really like doing are like these kind of like variations of the lines. You may want to do that on your ideas just to see how it looks. So for example, I might do this white here. I'm gonna just try to draw lines. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you're just trying to see how these things look when you add these things to it. You might maybe like it, maybe not. But this is more just like experimenting with it now. I like to look at some of these to get some ideas. Like some of these ones that I really like are like these kind of like repeated patterns, but it's like lined up neatly. So, you're just adding ideas. Think about like how it'll work. Sometimes you might have to do Command Alt or Command Tab. Sometimes, I mean, you probably won't have this problem on your computer, but sometimes my keys lock up because of how slow my computer is. So, I don't know, maybe I want to add this repeated circle all the way around. You know, you're just experimenting with it. You know, seeing how things look when you do it. And I'm doing this like really quickly, so it's like, you know, you can take your time with it, but, you know, I want you guys to just kind of like just see how it looks when you add these things. But, I don't know about that, but it looks kind of like a cookie now. But, you know, if you feel like it's like kind of filling up too much of the page, you can always go to like your next one and then think about like what else you might want to do. So like, you know, instead of like doing the repeated circles around it, you know, maybe I might want to have like this, I'm gonna eyedrop this gray here. Maybe have like another line that kind of goes around here. You know, I might want to try to vary the line weight a little bit more. Oops. Again, it's not gonna look perfect. It's just, you're just trying to like experiment with different things. You know, see how things look. Because, you know, maybe I might want to use like something from here, maybe something from this other one here, you know, in my final design. So, you know, you don't have to like use that same composition for your final. You may want to like pull out some different things from each of them. You know, basically like what happens is, I'll show you the one I was working on earlier. Like, you know, I have this one as my my rough sketches, and then this is like what I went with my final design when I add a little bit more color. But you can kind of see how I use like some pictures from here, like this. I really like the circle thing, and then I went with like this line thing too, for like this part here. So yeah, I picked like a couple of things, and also you can think about like a place you can put your name. I think it'd be kind of neat to like trying to figure out like how you're gonna put your name in this design. Yeah, that's kind of like where we're gonna head with this assignment.